feel. Put on my blue suede shoes and a boarded plane. Touchdown in the land of the Delta Blue, the middle of the pouring rain. Touchdown in the land of the Delta Blue, in the middle of the pouring.
Look in the camera.
Rain.
Hold it.
Rain.
Hold it.